Hi, welcome to another Unitrends training session. This training session is for the install onboarding. Now that is our next section, is the console view. How do we set up the network settings on the appliances? How do we give it the gateway, the DNS? We have to do that through the console view. So the following tasks must be completed prior to your scheduling of your installation date. You want to get an IP address. Go to your network, find an address that's not used, document it, and give it to Unitrends for your physical local appliance. Should have your gateway and your DNS information ready, because you're also going to make sure you upgrade the appliances once you get it online and registered here in a few minutes. All right, so in our console view, when you get to your appliance, you connect it to that KVM, that console, that mouse, that keyboard, that video, and you're looking at the screen in the KVM or at the console itself. This is what you'll see. You'll actually see your appliance booting up like a Linux operating system would if you reboot that machine in the background. Now, this console menu is on physical appliances. You can use this on the backside of virtual appliances as well. That's actually what I'm doing here in this demonstration, is I'm showing you the menu on a virtual appliance, but technically it's exactly the same on our physical Recovery Series appliances. Now, when you look at the backside of this console, there's a few options in here that you can do to set firewall settings, advanced options for tying to IBM iSeries, AS400, setting up IPMI. But the basic thing we're going to show you here today in the install onboarding is how to set the IP address and the DNS so you can get this machine on the network so you can get to it through the web browser. Only takes a few minutes. We're going to use option 1 here, and you'll notice as you go through these menu options, you don't need to hit enter or anything else after it. I chose option 1 to set the network. I choose option 1 to configure the IP address. And I'm going to choose option 0 for ETH0, right? That's once again the network card that needs to be on the network for management in the UI. You can see by default, once again, our address is 10.10.10.1. Be cautionary that if you're using a 10.10.10 address for your network, do not plug this appliance in and turn it on into your network. Disconnect the network cable from the appliance, come to this console screen, and change the address before you plug it into the network. Once you change the address, then you can plug it into the network, and it won't affect the 10.10.10.1 address. All right, we're going to go ahead and say yes to modify. Once again, I'm not hitting enter at the end of that, just the Y. We're going to go ahead and set our address to 192.168.100.99. Whatever your address is that you're choosing out of your own network. It may be a 10.10.10 address. It may be a 192.168.1 dot. Right? Whatever you're using for your local subnet. The current net mask, we can set that as well too. By default, it's 255.255.255.0. If you want to leave an entry the same, you can just hit enter again in the menu, and it'll write the same value. The current gateway, you want to make sure you set that to your local gateway as well too. So here we're going to set it to 100.2. It's our local gateway. Now you can verify the information of what your current addresses are to what you're going to set them in the new section at the bottom. Verify this information and press Y to confirm those changes. Now you're going to do the same thing with configuring DNS. So you're going to use option 2 to configure DNS. You can see your current settings. We're going to say yes to modify those. Once again, I'm not hitting enter after I press that Y or the values. Right? When I put in a value here for an address, then I have to hit enter at the end of that value. We're going to go ahead and put in our primary DNS, which is 10.0.1.25 for our primary DNS, and we have a secondary internal DNS of 192.168.100.12. We're going to make sure we set both of those DNS addresses, primary and secondary. If you have a search domain, you can set your search domain here too. We happen to be using here my domain in our test environment, so we're just going to set it to my domain. Once again, you can validate your current with the new changes you're going to put in place, verify those are correct, and confirm those changes. Now you'll see option 3 is to configure IPMI, the LAN settings for accessing the BIOS. We're not going to do that in this quick onboarding video, but once again, those settings are out here to configure that for a physical and virtual appliance. Now, after we configure the IP and the DNS, we do want to make sure we check the network settings. We want to use option 4 to test the network. We're just going to hit enter here so it tries the unitrends.com address, and we're going to make sure that we have a successful connection. You can see there that the network test was successful. We're going to press the space bar and the Q to get back to the main menu. Here, if we use option 5 to go back, we can now see at the bottom of the screen our address is now the 192.168.100.99. You've now set your local address on your appliance, and now you can open up the web browser to go through the first installation of the appliance.